What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, the draft analysis for the Bouffalant Bills for the Pokemon Fight Club. Now if you're excited for this, don't forget to hit the like button down below. I would really appreciate it. I am really excited to show you guys my draft. I got first pick for the Mega as well, so you guys will be able to see exactly what Mega I decided to go for. Honestly, so much hype. I really cannot wait to show you guys. Remember, the rest of the team was randomized, but I think I was pretty lucky with this one, and got some really nice gems, and some Pokemon that I've been wanting to use in League format for a really long time. Without further ado, I'm going to announce what Mega we ended up getting. We ended up getting Bouffalant Bill, the Mega Metagross. Now, as I said, I got first pick on this, and it would have been a tragedy not to pick Mega Metagross, because look at this guy's stats: 80 base HP with 150 and 110 defenses. Absolutely insane. This guy is going to be tanking hits. Reasonably good typing with Steel and Psychic means he's going to resist a lot of moves and just be able to tank them and just, oh my goodness, it's going to be insane. Next, the 145 base attack with 110 speed and also 105 special attack. Really good. And then just to round it off, the cherry on top is the Tough Claws. Tough Claws, it means that your contact moves are boosted by, I think it's 30%. Yeah, 30% if I remember rightly. And that's absolutely insane. It's basically this guy gets a Life Orb, but without any Life Orb recall on all of his contact moves, which is just insane with that 145 base attack. Like, if we get this all the way up, 389 attack plus Tough Claws boost is just absolutely insane. On top of this as well, when we have a look at this guy's move pool, it's just crazy. First of all, we've got Agility, which is the first one that comes up here. This means that we could set this up as a very bulky mon and just literally set him on Agility, sweep his entire, outspeed his entire team and just clean up from there. So this guy is a fantastic cleaner. In terms of the punches, he gets every single type of punch. He's got Bullet Punch priority, Dynamic Punch, but I don't think we're using Dynamic Punch, but Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. Does he get Fire Punch? I'm pretty sure. Does he not get Fire Punch? I thought this guy got Fire Punch. No, he does not get Fire Punch. Okay, that's a shame. But he gets all the rest of the punches, so that's really fine. He's got a really good 105 special attack, so we could even slap a Hidden Power Fire on here if we need to. And basically just engineer this guy around beating the opponent's team. I've been watching A-Drive using it in the UCL last season, and he just absolutely wrecks with it. It gets so many kills almost every single game that he brings it, so it's really good. Obviously in OU it is a little bit limited because it gets that horrific full move slot syndrome, but in League format you're able to tailor the moveset to the opponent's draft, so it shouldn't be as much of a problem. So I'm really looking forward to that. Grass Knot as well, I'm really excited to give that a go because this move gets contact with it, so you get the Tough Claws boost of 105 special attack, should be doing a reasonably good amount of damage, and a lot of bulky waters are used to try and wall this guy, so having that is going to be really good. We got so many different things: Hone Claws to boost our attack, we got Power Up Punch. Yeah, honestly, like, the moves on this guy is just absolutely insane. We could set this up as a more defensive with Iron Defense if we really wanted to, but I think this guy is going to be very much like a Fairy Killer, very offensive. Very few things are not 2-hit KO by it with the right move, so it's going to be absolutely insane. Even things like Skarmory with Hammer Arm, you can beat that guy 1v1 because all you do is you just lower your speed to a point where Skarmory outspeeds you and then roosts, and then you can take it out from there. So even things like that, which in theory you think will be able to wall it, it cannot wall it. It gives us a Pursuit Trapper as well, which I'm really excited to use. I've been watching the obviously GBA because I'm an analyst, but I've been really excited to see the amount of Pursuit Trapping that's been going on. So having something that Pursuit Traps as well is really nice. It also gives us a Stealth Rock option as well. So I'm very happy with this pick. It was between this guy and a Mega Lati, but obviously Mega Lati gives you the option for defog, but as I said, it would be tragic not to pick this guy because this guy is just so offensive and so fantastic and so quick as well. That 110 base speed is going to be outspeeding a lot of teams, so as I said, I'm very happy with this guy. Next up, we're going to be announcing the next pick. Obviously, the rest of the team is randomized, so there may be some weird ones, but we'll just have to see. I ended up with Tyranitar, Twitch at the beach, because obviously Sandstream, please don't kill me, but anyway, we have got a very fantastic mon that I'm very happy with. Another pseudo legendary. So this guy has really great stats: 100 HP, 110 defense, and 100 def with the Sandstream and the special defense boost. This guy is going to be so tanky, so I'm really looking forward to that. Really nice offenses as well, and it gives me a Pursuit Trapper. In this format as well, there's going to be the Mega Pokemon and their non-Mega Pokemon can all be drafted separately. So there's actually 4 Lati twins running around right now. There's Mega Latias and Latios, and a normal Latias and Latios. So having something that just basically can either switch in, or after a Draco Meteor come in and just Pursuit Trap and kill, is really nice. So that's going to be really fantastic. So having something that can handle those, obviously Bullet Bill can, but you don't want to be throwing Bullet Bill around too much, and especially in draft format where they can be running things like Shadow Ball and stuff like that, you just got to be pretty careful. But Tyranitar basically hard counters all of them, especially at -2 as well. This guy also gives us a Stealth Rocks option, which is really nice. I think this guy gets Rock Polish as well. Yes, he does get Rock Polish, so it gives us another setup on Raw to phase things out. Dragon Tail as well to phase things out. Dragon Dance as well. If we find a team is particularly slow, we might be able to Dragon Dance and sort of sweep from there, because 134 base attack is going to be doing a lot of damage. And this guy has just got a fantastic move pool, very similar to Bullet Bill in that aspect, and just, yeah, absolutely great pick, I must admit. It does give us a bit of a fighting weakness, but obviously Bullet Bill can handle that. We've got a shared ground weakness, so I was hoping that later on we might be able to get sort of alleviate that a little bit. So I think that's basically everything that we can say about Tyranitar for now. Next up, we have got Ollie, the Keldeo, which I was very excited for as well, because between Bullet Bill and Keldeo, they make a fantastic offensive core that's used a lot in OU, and it's very infamous in how there's very few things that can really handle it. So that's really fantastic. And while this guy may not have the deepest of move pools, he does what he does very well. And with how the draft ended up happening, first of all, there's a couple of friends that ended up joining the draft. We've got Ollie, Flashfire that's there, John, aka Pokemon, is also in this draft, and also a friend of mine called Matt, aka HDV. All of them will be linked down in the description with the rest of them. But between Matt and John, they both got, like, I think it was like 7 or 8 bulky waters, so there's very few water types that can switch into this guy. So that's really exciting. It also gives me a hard answer to Chansey and Blissey, both of which got drafted and I absolutely hate. If you guys watch me in the D-League, you know how much I hate Blissey. But yeah, so having an answer to that as well is really nice, and just the offensive synergy is fantastic. It gives me a Scald switch in as well to an extent, so yeah, very happy with this guy. Next up, I ended up getting Jafar, which, not the best OU pick, but considering the first 3, I can't really afford to complain, to be honest. And this guy gives us a Focus Sash user, which is really nice. With the Magic Guard means that we get a fantastic Revenge Killer, and also we're just basically just a safe, you know, sort of what's it called? Just like a safe thing at the back. I can't remember. Backstop. That's probably what I'm thinking of. And I know, obviously, typing wise, it doesn't synergistically work well with Bullet Bill, but it is very specially offensive, obviously, and fills a very different role. But it's also got very good trade value as well, so I'd be able to have, you know, got a good chance of being able to trade this guy off for something else equally powerful. And yeah, so very happy with this guy. So these were we ended up getting 3 OU picks and the Mega. Moving on, we had 3 UU picks. First pick I got, which I'm really excited for, and you guys should be excited for too, we got Hydreigon, which is another fantastic core with Bullet Bill, because between Bullet Bill and Hydreigon, they both almost perfectly handle each other's weaknesses. Obviously, gives me a ground immunity, which is really nice. Hydreigon's obviously weak to fairies. It struggles a lot with fairies, which Bullet Bill handles. Ice types, which Bullet Bill handles. Dragon types, which Bullet Bill handles. And also, obviously, Twitch at the Beach can also Pursuit Trap all the Latties. So really happy with this guy. This guy has got one of the deepest move pools as well. Very offensive in terms of stats, but it also has the potential to run defensive. It gets Thunder Wave, if I remember rightly. It gets Roost, which is also fantastic. Just a really fantastic mon. And the move pool is just, the offensive move pool is so great. We can run this physical, we can run this special, we can run mixed, we can just basically tailor this guy to run through an opponent's team. It also gets Charge Beam as well. So obviously water types between these two can be a bit of a problem, especially if they're really specially bulky. So having something that can Charge Beam and then I can just drop a Draco, dead from there, is really nice. So I am really excited to use this guy, and honestly, like, my first 5 picks I'm so happy with. If you look at the offense that we've got here, we've got really reasonable bulk, and on top of this as well, I don't think we've got a mon that's under, I think our weakest mon in terms of offensive power is, I think it's Hydreigon at 125, which is just insane. So I am really, really happy with this. Moving on, we've got our next UU pick, which was Joker, which, yeah, I'm pretty happy with. I may end up trading this guy, we'll just have to see. Just because with Ollie being there, I don't know how well it's going to fit the team. It's another ground weakness as well. But at the minute, I'm very happy. It gives us a Scald switch in, because the Dry Skin gives us immunity there. Poison Touch as well, with Poison Jab as well, allows us to spread status, which is also really, really nice. And gives me a really nice mixed user. I can go for a Nasty Plot setup sweeper, or a Swords Dance setup sweeper. Gives me priority in terms of Bullet Punch, and also Sucker Punch as well. So that's really, really nice. So I'm pretty happy with this guy, but as I said, I may be able to switch him out for something that fits the team a little bit better. Gives me a knockoff user as well, so I'm very, very happy. In terms of the sort of the first set then, I'm a little bit weak to, maybe possibly weak to very powerful fighting types. Obviously, Mega Metagross can come in and offensively check them, but having a weakness there and also weakness there isn't the best thing in the world. But to be honest, considering this is randomized, I'm incredibly happy with the first 6. So we're going to move on now to the next set, which is going to be my 1 UU pick, and then we've got 3 RU, and then 2 NU, and then we'll be finishing up with the PU ones. Ooh. Okay, so my final UU pick ended up being Donphan, which I'm also really happy with. It's not the best mon in my opinion in draft formats, just because of the fact that I used it in the IEP. Maybe I overstretched it or expect too much from it, but I found it basically set up rocks, it spammed once, and then it died. But considering a lot of teams are randomized as well, some of them may not have a ground immunity, so having something that can just potentially, go for stab, earthquakes, and everything like that is really, really nice. So I am very, very happy with this guy from that aspect as well. Gives me more priority as well. This guy gets Ice Shard, so any spooky dragon types that want to Dragon Dance have to face the Ice Shard. Gives me another knockoff user as well, Stealth Rock user as well, and as that. So yeah, pretty happy with this guy. This guy has got a pretty deep move pool actually, when you really dig into it, especially with things like counter that can really throw people off. I can run this defensive, I can run this offensive, I can run this choice band, I could run Assault Vest. There's a lot of different options for this guy, especially when I've got a few rocks options before as well. So yeah, overall, very, very happy with this guy. Moving on now to RU, we have got Frostbite the Sneasel, with which is, at the start, I looked at it, I was like, oh, actually, that's not that great. Why is this guy RU? And had a look, and actually, this guy has got an absolutely incredible speed of base 115, which is just crazy. It's a very much a coveted speed tier. Anything above base 110 is really, really good, because a lot of Megas are stuck at base 110. If you have a look, there's a sort of a huge amount of them that are there. So having something that outspeeds those guys, and it's guaranteed to outspeed and can do a lot of damage to them, is really nice. It does give me another 4 times fighting weakness, which is a bit of a shame, but I still have Mega Metagross for that. And also, obviously, having 3 dark types, it may seem a little bit stupid, but remember, they all fill very different roles. We've got Tyranitar, which gives me a bulky role and a pursuit trapping role. We've got Hydreigon, which is very much an offensive role, and but bulky offensive, and also with U-turn and stuff like that. And Sneasel gives me a late game cleaner sort of option from there, because a lot of teams have a good chance of being able to being weak to knockoff and also ice coverage. So that's really, really nice. So I'm relatively happy with this guy. I think he's got good trade value as well. So yeah, overall, not massively mad with this guy at all. He gives me another terms of priority in terms of Ice Shard as well, which is really nice. Swords Dance as well allows me to set up, and if I can set up and outspeed the rest of his team, then I can very easily clean up with this guy, especially with the Life Orb. He's just incredibly frail. So I just have to play around, and yeah, relatively deep move pool as well. Poison Jab for fairies, Power Up Punch where I predict a switch, and basically you always run basically like Knockoff, Ice Shard, most likely Icicle Crash and Poison Jab or something like that, or Swords Dance. The first 3 are normally the same sort of moveset that you would expect. So yeah, overall pretty happy with this guy. Next up we have got Moverload the Rotom Mo, which is another thing that I think is going to work really well with this team. It gives me a ground immunity, which I have a respectable ground weakness at this point. On top of that as well, it gives me a Volt Switcher, which works really well with Hydreigon. Gives me a Volt Turn core going on, a Grass type as well, so it gives me switch-ins to Spores and stuff like that if people decide to run that, go for that. Leaf Storm obviously does lower our special attack, but it allows us to handle bulky water types, which our team may otherwise struggle with a little bit. So yeah, very, very happy with this guy, and gives me a defensive option, gives me a scarf option, it gives me a trick option. And yeah, just overall very, very happy with this guy. Next up, we have got Murica, the Bravery. I'm really looking forward to using this guy. This guy is one that I've wanted to use in draft format for a long time because he's got the option to set up. He's a very good flying type. With the way that steel types are distributed as well, typically in draft format, bird spam and that sort of thing is really, really powerful. And having something like a choice band, like a choice scarf, this guy's a really good scarfer. Gives me another U-turn user as well, so I'm very happy with that. Sub bulk up as well with that base 100 means I can set up on any seismic toss user as well with the right moveset. So that's really, really nice. So yeah, overall very, very happy with this guy. Moving on to our NU picks, we ended up getting 2 NU picks for this. So I ended up getting Flounder the Lantern, which I'm actually quite happy with. He actually works really quite well with my team. It gives me a electric immunity. You know, obviously outside of Fan, I do not have that. With the Volt Absorb, it also gives me a Water Absorber user as well. He can just generally mess about and really mess with a lot of Pokemon's. So moving on to the NU Pokemon, we got 2 NU Pokemon in this randomized draft. I ended up with Flounder the Lantern, which has the ability to either Water Absorb or Volt Absorb, which is really nice. It gives me another electric immunity or a water immunity as well. And just generally messes with a lot of different Pokemon. It's quite surprising actually how well this guy actually works. He's got a really good HP stat of 125, reasonably good defenses, but what this means is you can actually mold this guy really well because you can invest your EVs in defenses and really work around this guy to actually sort of wall some very specific things. In terms of in draft format, you're much better off a high HP mon with lower defenses than a low HP mon with high defenses, because you can use those EVs and not invest too much in that HP. So that's really, really nice. I'm really looking forward to this guy. It gives me a Heal Bell user as well, which obviously my team lacked at this point, and just you know, a pretty respectable move pool. And electric water typing is a really nice thing to have as well. It just gives you a lot of good resistances and forces a lot of Pokemon out as well. And it's one of those ones you've actually kind of got to prep for a little bit. And even if it influences a few of the matches in terms of what moves they decide to bring, so they're not walled by this guy, I'll be very, very happy. Next up, we ended up with Pork Scratchings, the Piloswine. Another really good NU mon that can be used because in terms of sort of how good they are and whether you'd be able to actually use them, I think this guy has the potential because with Eviolite, this guy becomes incredibly bulky. It gives me another Ice Shard user as well, which is really nice. Obviously, another fighting weakness, which I really didn't need, but a Stealth Rock user nonetheless. A nice Earthquake user. Just, I know it's kind of, Donphan and Pork Scratchings kind of look very similar, but they fill very different niches, I think. Piloswine's just that little bit more, it's got a slightly better typing than Donphan, I would say, just because you can handle a lot of the grass types and stuff like that Donphan obviously walls, and also that slightly more damaging Ice Shard with, obviously having the stab on that is really a really nice thing to have. So, as I said, slightly different in terms of setup to Donphan, but they could have been a lot worse NU picks, I must admit. So, yeah, reasonably happy with this guy, I would say. So we're going to move on to PU now, and where I got my 2 final picks. So my first pick that I ended up getting was Furret. To be honest, in PU, to get anything that's even like remotely good is very, very rare. There's one or two things you could be happy with, like Gourgeist and stuff like that. So not the worst thing in the world. So Gathering Dust the Furret. I don't know how much we're going to talk about this guy. I mean, he gives us a Frisk Pokemon, so we can work out what Pokemon's items he's got. He's got, he's got a pretty deep move pool, but it's just the stats. The stats are just so lackluster. I don't see many situations where I'm going to pick this guy over anyone else. So this guy may end up living up to his name and just gathering dust, but we'll just have to see. Yeah, I think basically we'll just see and see how it pans out. Gives me another U-turn user, which is quite nice. As I said, a trick user as well, which is really good. Knockoff user. And just, yeah, pretty good move pool as well. So maybe he'll surprise me. We'll just have to see. And then finally, we have got Hypnotoad, the Politoad, which is unfortunately not a Drizzle one. It is just the original normal Politoad. I did have the option to reroll because they realised they messed up and meant to put it in OU. But I decided to stick with it because it gives me another Water Absorb user, which is absolutely fine. And On top of this as well, I could have got a lot worse in PU. Like, everyone else had rolled by this point, because I think I was last, near to last in the draft, and there wasn't anything I could think of in the PU list that I would really want to gamble for. So I figured, you know, Water Absorb gives me a, you know, this guy's actually got not the worst stats in the world, and gives me a nice Perish Song user, Encore user as well. You know, obviously, I've already got one with Alakazam, but a little bit more of a bulky one is quite nice. Yeah, so I think this guy's going to be respectable. Belly Drum, I may try Belly Drum at some point, we'll just have to see. But, yeah, so overall, PU ones, but then I'd rather have, like, iffy PU ones. You're never going to be happy with PU, to be honest. There's not many PU mons that are really, really good. So to bring up to draft form, obviously Dusclops would be really nice to have, but we ended up not getting him. But yeah, so I think that's basically everyone in terms, yeah, that's everything in terms of my draft. Everyone else's drafts will be down in a picture, down in a link down below, so do go check that out and have a look how everyone else's teams ended up. I would argue I've got one of the strongest teams, and I think John and Ollie and also Matt agree with that. John did not end up with the best draft in the world, but you'll just have to see. And Matt has got just absolutely disgusting bulk. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this draft analysis. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys at the first battle next Thursday. Macadii out.